Hey, what's up? 2 days ago on the Communist News Network, they were actually talking about people going out and peacefully protesting about this. I talked about this story 2 days ago, and I told people that they were gearing up to get people to go out and hit the streets. And what's happening right now? What do we see happening right now? They're rioting throughout the country because of this story right here. They're rioting across the country. And I told people I saw what was coming. I saw what they were doing, and how they were pushing this. I'm telling you, I just did a video on it talking about it. For those of you that saw it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. In that video, I was talking about with Ron DeSantis and how in the state of Florida, how they were trying to say Ron DeSantis is racist because he doesn't want them to interject wokeism into Black History Month. There's a white man in the state of Florida that don't want to interject wokeism with Black History Month. Make it make sense. Make it make sense, right? And in that video, I talked about this story that you see right here. And this is exactly what the left, this is exactly what they do every single time. They're rioting in Seattle, they're rioting in New York, they're rioting across the country in these blue states and blue cities. They're rioting tonight because of this right here. Now, let me say this. I saw some of the video, and I can't play the video here because of obvious reasons. They'll penalize me. But in that video, these 5 Black police officers had the guy in handcuffs, and they were beating this dude. It was not right. The dude shouldn't have been resisting arrest in the first place, but they didn't have to beat him the way that they did. I'm just being straight up. It wasn't right. Okay? With that said, just like I said the other day, if this was five Black civilians, just 5 Black men walking out on the street one evening, and they see another Black man, and they end up beating that Black man, Van Jones, who wrote this article that you see here, he would not be writing an article about it. You wouldn't see the liberal media jumping on talking about this story. There wouldn't be anything if they were 5 Black civilians beating up another Black man. But because they're police officers, the only reason why is the only reason why they are even talking about this story, because they're police officers. The left's agenda is to disarm, to dismantle the police department throughout the entire nation. I'm just waiting for Ilhan Omar to shine her ugly head, probably because she's bitter right now because she's been kicked off committees. I'm just waiting for her to shine her ugly head and come out there and say we need to dismantle the police department, because she said it once before. She said it once before, dismantling the police department. So she's really bitter right now. So I'm waiting for her to come out and say it. But to get back to this story here, they're also saying that just because there are 5 Black police officers doesn't mean it's racially related. You see it right here. The opinion of the police officers who killed Trey Nicholas were Black. But, there's always a but, they might still have, they might still have been driven by racism. There it is again. It's always come down to the racism. There's 5 Black police officers. And I told y'all when I did the video talking about Ron DeSantis, I told y'all this is exactly the angle that they're going to push it on. The exact angle. This is 100% disgusting, because what about all the Black people that show up in these grocery stores? Because in this article that you see here, in this article, Van Jones, he's a total demon crap. In the article, he also goes on to say that when Black people go into a store and you have a Black store owner, his attitude with the Black person coming there buying something is different than the white person coming there buying something, meaning that the black store owner can be racist against a black person coming into the store as well. Make it make sense. See, everything that they can do to blame white people for their own circumstances, they will do it. This is exactly what this is. They're wanting to blame white people for what 5 black police officers did. So basically, white people, excuse my language here, excuse my language, it's the same thing as a thing that holds against water, a dam. White people are damned if you do, damned if you don't. You understand what I'm telling you? Because no matter what, they always make this connection with white people. Every single time. It has nothing to do with white people. Nothing. Not a zero zip. Nothing. But yet they still try to make that connection because they want white people to feel like, oh my goodness, look what you've done to us. Look what you've done to us. This is their own circumstances. We can't continuously blame somebody for something that had nothing to do with them simply because of their complexion. This is wild. This is wild. Now, I still have more to show you because you know how I'm always telling you, like, sometimes when I'm doing posts and I put stuff out there, I get white liberals to jump in there and white liberals to say racist, hateful stuff. And then black liberals would jump in there, right? I have something else I want to share with you. This is not one of those cases, right? This is not one of those cases, but I want to share something with you that is floating around on Twitter because I'm telling you, if y'all looking at Twitter right now, all of these videos from these different locations, New York, Seattle, Tennessee, Memphis, they're all out in the street rioting. Now, I want to share this one with you. Let me move this one off the screen here. And look at this. Look at this. Anyone who says the killing of Trey Nicholas cannot be about racism because the cops were also black really doesn't understand how white supremacy or anti-blackness work. And this is a white dude. This is a white dude, a white liberal telling me how white supremacy works, right? And anti-blackness, right? So basically you have this dude here. And it's the same thing with all the rest of these white liberals, right? See, they never want to talk about the actual white people who's caused harm on people, right? They never actually want to talk about it. They just want to say their goal is to say as white Republicans, anyone who's white who support America, anyone who's white who supports, freedom, anyone who's white who's a Christian, that's the target that they're going for. And I've been saying this for years. They're doing this because they want each one of us at our throats because of race. And they want you to go after white conservatives. I'm telling you, white Christians is their ultimate goal. I'm telling you, hear me now, believe me later on. But this right here is completely disgusting. And it's a white liberal stoking the flames and getting more black people worked up because I've actually had some white people telling me that I'm supporting white supremacy, that I'm a white supremacist sympathizer. This is completely ignorant. This statement here is completely ignorant. And I'm really, truly sick of it because it's always white liberals that seem like they always come in like they have the answers. They know what's best for everybody. You need to believe us because we can tell you what is anti-blackness. Please explain anti-blackness to me, because you even have some liberals. You have some liberals out there, white liberals, constantly they'll send me messages telling me that I don't know what it is to be black. Or they'll sit there and tell me that I'm a sellout to my people. And I'm thinking, well, my people are the American people. What exactly are you saying? And they said, well, you're a sellout to your people. These are white liberals that say this. I've never, ever had a white conservative say that. A white conservative says just the opposite. If you're a sellout to your people, that means everybody. But Democrats, these leftists, they think differently. They're trying to cause this issue in America. And like I mentioned before, for those of you that didn't see it, these guys here, the only reason why they're trying to associate these guys here with racism is because they want to dismantle the police department altogether. That's what this is ultimately about. This has nothing to do with Trey Nicholas. It really doesn't. They're using this as an opportunity. That's all they're doing it. They're using it as an opportunity to go out in the streets and riot to try to get something that they want. Because now let me remind you, the Summer of Love, remember that in 2020? They rioted until they got what they want. So it's the same MO. They're going to riot. Now, I want to be wrong. They're going to riot until they get what they want. They're going to riot until they get what they want. Oh, I got a troll on here. And let me tell you about Uncle Tom. And see, this is another thing about the ignorant black people and ignorant white liberals. This is another thing about these ignorant black people. They don't realize that Uncle Tom, in the story of Harriet Stowe, was a black man helping black slaves reach freedom. And these ignorant black people, they don't want black people to be free because the white liberals convinced the black ignorant man that Uncle Tom was a bad thing. You don't want to be an Uncle Tom. You want to be an Uncle Tom because what they don't know is that Uncle Tom was helping black people reach freedom. So please explain to me, why would you not want black people to reach freedom? Why would you not want black people to have freedom? This is such an ignorant thing. And these stupid black people can't figure it out. Even though you tell them and you ask them, say, you know what? I encourage you to go read Harriet Stowe. I encourage you to go read it so you'll know the truth. If you don't believe me, go read it. And then after you go read it, then come back and holler at me. You know what? They never come back. Because some of them even know that Uncle Tom was a black man that was helping black people, black slaves reach freedom. And they still don't like it. So they think that calling me Uncle Tom is going to hurt my feelings. Thank you for that. Thank you for that badge of encouragement. Thank you for acknowledging that I want to help not just black people, not just Hispanic people, not just white people, not just Asian people. I want to help God's people reach freedom. And if you have a problem with that, you need to go talk to your boss, Satan, because you can tell him that I'm not going to stop. You can tell your boss, your guy, Satan, that I'm not going to stop. Because I know you don't like what I'm saying, but everything I'm sitting there saying is true. Answer me this. If you're still on here, troll, answer me this. Would you be talking about this story if these were just 5 random black dudes on the street? No, you would not be. You wouldn't even care. And then these black people get upset with Will Johnson because he talks about all the crime. Here. Then these same black people get upset with me because I don't want the crime happening in Chicago. I don't want the crime happening in Detroit. I don't like the black on black crime. So they get upset with me because I talk about that. And many times when I've been out on the street talking to these ignorant black people and ignorant liberals, white liberals, and I bring up the fact about how black people are killing black people at an alarming rate, they go, oh, here we go with that. Same old story. That's all you got to talk about. Really? But you don't talk about it. I've already said that these 5 black police officers were in the wrong. They really were. They were in the wrong. But you can't say that if they were 5 black civilians, you wouldn't even be talking about the story. You could care less. And the only reason why you talk about it, because just like other black ignorant people and other black white liberals, other ignorant leftists, the only reason why they're talking about this story is because they want to dismantle the police department throughout the entire nation. And once they dismantle the police department throughout the entire nation, that sets it up for any other organization outside of America to come in and set up shop. People don't know this, but China had already started setting up police departments in the United States of America, like they're waiting for this to happen. They already put one in New York. They have police departments in Canada. There's a reason why they're doing this, and people are so stupid. I'm sorry to be so blunt, But people are so stupid. They don't even realize, well, hey, China has a police department in America. Why would they do that? Oh, they're here to police. It makes it easier for a foreign entity to come in and police people brutally than other Americans doing it to Americans. See, now when Antifa and BLM go out and hit the streets and they're trying to tear up stuff, the police officers don't have a choice but to push them back, but they don't be brutal like these 5 police officers were. These 5 police officers were brutal. They actually took it too far. If you haven't looked at it, the videos out there on Twitter, they actually took it too far. They took it too far. But it has nothing to do with racism. It has nothing to do with racism. It's not a racist issue. It's a training issue. It's a morale issue. It's an indoctrination issue. It's because they've convinced so many black people that other black people do wrong. They automatically have it in their mind to do these things. I'm telling you, I remember, and I never forget this, when I was living in Arkansas, I was a lot younger. And this is before I had dreadlocks. And I went over I was hanging out with some buddies, right? And we went over to this guy's house. And he had stayed in an apartment. And we're just in there hanging out. And I'm a lot young. This was over 20 years ago. I mean, years and years ago. Right? Probably even over 25 years ago. Actually, it was over 25 years ago. I'm an old man. It's more than 30 years, to be honest with you. So we're in this apartment, and it's like maybe 5 of us, and we're all in there in this apartment. We're just hanging out, right? And someone break out a joint, for those of you who don't know what a blunt is. In the hood, we used to smoke blunts, right? And we're all just sitting there in the room smoking in this apartment. And then about 15 minutes later, the guy's apartment we were in, he said, man, I got to go get work. I got to get dressed. He leaves from in the living room and goes into the back room, and he gets dressed, and he comes out with a police uniform on. I'm telling you, I wasn't high anymore. He walked in the back and came in with a police uniform on. And I'm like, we just smoked with this dude, right? And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. And he proceeded to tell me, he said, you know what? When the police officers go through training, they're trained to look at black males more than they are white males. He was telling me this. So to an extent that does happen. It does happen, but it's not racially related. It's not racially related. You can't sit there and tell me. So if police officers that are women and they automatically pull over women and they arrest women, can we say that they're sexist? Can we say that they're sexist? Right? Can we say that? No, you're not going to say that. So why would we say just because they're black and they pull over a black guy that's fighting with them and they beat him to death, how is it racist? They're only saying this because they want to dismantle the police department. And, I've never shared that story before about, 30 years ago. I don't smoke anymore. I didn't even have dreadlocks at the time. I get dreadlocks and I don't smoke. I don't because it slows me down. I'm already slow and that slows me down. I don't even drink except for maybe every blue moon. I bought a 6-pack of beer and it's set in the refrigerator for 6 months and I ended up having to throw it away because it expired. I want to keep my mind clear. You understand? I want to keep my mind clear, and I have to keep my mind clear based on everything that's going on because I'm trying to pay attention and I want to be informative. I want to be able to bring information to people that's actually valid. And before I came on here tonight and started talking about this, I actually had to go out there because, sometimes people take screenshots of stuff and then they change it up to make it look like it actually was them saying it. This is actually on the Communist News Network's website. And I encourage you to go look it up, too. You go look it up. And it was written by Van Jones. It's written by Van Jones, which is a total tyrant. Total tyrant. total tyrant. But like I said, these police officers were in the wrong. They were in the wrong. And I've met many police officers in my day, and not all police officers have this same mentality. Not all of them have the same mentality. Not all of them go through this same thing. You understand what I'm telling you? Not all of them. Now, like I told you the story I told you about 30 years ago where that happened. That's not always the case, because I've had many conversations with many police officers. That's not always the case. What's happening here is by design. What's happening here is to cause issues. Now, the only reason why I told that story is because it was true. I'm not going to lie to anybody and try to sugarcoat something or try to change something up because I want to fit a certain narrative. The truth is the truth. The truth is the truth. But we need police officers in this country. We need police officers, because without the police officers, this country will repeat itself just like they did in these other communist nations. Just like they did in these other communist nations. Am I going to say that all police officers are peachy? Absolutely not. Do all police officers make mistakes? Absolutely. But if we go to the extent of not allowing our cities and states to have police officers, we're going to lose our country. Did you realize police officers are the ones on the front line? They're the ones on the front line. So some people go, well, Will, you just told a story about what police officers are being trained. Police officers are men and women that decide to put on a uniform. And for anyone to sit there and think that the police departments across the country is nothing but racist entities. If they were racist entities, they wouldn't be locking up conservative Christians. They wouldn't be kicking down the doors of white people that love America. They wouldn't be kicking down the doors of Christians that just simply want to protest peacefully against people killing the unborn child. If they were racist, they wouldn't allow black people to just walk around the street freely, but they do. And again, the main point here that everyone keeps skipping, and it goes in one ear and out the other ear. If these were just 5 black civilians beating up a black guy in the streets, you wouldn't even hear about it. And everyone that is automatically against police officers, you wouldn't even care about it. The only reason why you care is because these are police officers. Share the video.